My name is Michael Arujo. I'm the Executive Director of Rhode Island Jobs with Justice, and I'm here in support of Bill 7610. I tried to come up with there were so many different ways that you could approach this issue, and I was trying to come up with one that was both had made sense numerically and also kind of made sense emotionally, and I just couldn't come up with one. I just could not get past the fact that our country's history is unique, right? We as a nation are, other than our indigenous population, a nation of people who are brought here either forcibly or by choice or by trickery. Our country did not establish any immigration laws up until 1905. None. And that exclusion only applied to Asian Americans. Ben Franklin, when he discussed immigration in the country in 1776, said only one population should be barred from membership of the United States, and that was the Swedish people. It's true. He said it. It's completely a random nation. At one time, the Dalmatians were thought of as the most violent and dangerous people on earth. Can you identify Dalmatia on a map? No. Right? It's an arbitrary measure that we use now. And we've placed a certain population of people in a shadow and in a more precarious position because of this arbitrary measure. Families go to work every single day, working jobs which haven't seen significant wage increases in a long time, that are increasingly precarious, in housing with rents that are approaching that of Massachusetts, with childcare costs that are approaching that of rents. Families have to struggle so much harder now than they did at almost any other time in our country's history. My mother was able to stay home and be with me during the course of the day. I was able to walk to school. I was able to walk to the gym. I was able to walk to boxing practice. You can't do that now. Both parents work. The schedules of children demand that they're shuttled from place to place constantly. Most people I talk to who experience low wages have multiple jobs just to make ends meet. They have to go from one end of town to the other end of town for a job that barely pays them a living wage. In doing that, they put at risk contact with their children, contact with their elders, and contact with their community, which has been supporting them. Rhode Island is stronger in every way by our immigrant population. When Italian immigrants first came to this state around the turn of the century, there was no process of legalization. There were no papers. There simply weren't. When the Irish came here, they faced a wave of unbelievable hatred from a very reactionary population called the Know-Nothings. There are no papers to legalize them. There's no way to rationalize their presence. They were called everything from terrorists to ignorant to dangerous. That's the actual subtext of the conversation from the opposition side. FAIR, the organization that was quoted before, is listed as a hate group by the Southern Poverty Law Center. They are also funded by an organization, the Heritage Foundation, which is an extreme right-wing think tank inside Liberty University, which has outlawed and banned interracial marriage or interracial dating on campus. They only started to admit blacks up until in the late 80s, not that anyone would want to be there. It's not an organization known for its forward-thinking position on women, on African Americans, and on immigrants in general. The numbers that they present don't lie. They paint a very, very clear picture of the position that they have. It's one that is both reactionary, it's xenophobic, it's bigoted, and it's dangerous. Our Rhode Island that I belong to is one that has been inclusive of Cape Verdeans who came here when my grandfather came here in 1889. He didn't have papers, and welcomed him. When my dad went back and forth to Cape Verde, he was able to travel freely to do so. He went on to become the first lightweight championship boxer in Rhode Island. When my grandfather came here from Ireland in 1899, worked first as a stonecutter, then he worked opening up a gas station in Fox Point, and then became a clerk of the Supreme Court. All of that was done without papers. He was given access to the roads as he needed. My father was given access to the roads as was needed. In order for someone to participate in society today, they have to be able to travel. To put their families at risk to use the thing that they need to participate is cruelty and dangerous for all of us. Besides making common sense to make the roads safer for all Rhode Islanders, means that we have to include all Rhode Islanders. We need to recognize the fact that when we look and think about others in our state, there aren't others. It's all of us. These are our neighbors. They cook our food. They care for our children. I want them to be welcome. And I want us to make it rational for them to be here. And I want our roads to be safer for it. So I urge passage of this bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Okay.